Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing the poor man's jewelry and made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall? Now the king is asking, who was the merchant? Which merchant's order the jeweler was about to finish? Was he had to finish? Then who, because of which the dancer was walking up and down the street, and which distracted the bricklayer and which made this poor wall? King was getting the query of all these questions. Wall which fallen on an innocent man and killed him. He was asking about all this, and that weak wall had fallen down on this on the innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. He was none other than the actual owner of the house. Which house? The house which was having that weak wall where the burglar had died. So the original owner, or you can say the merchant's father, was the jeweler who was making the was the rich merchant whose order jeweler was about to finish. Now justice had come full circle. Now you see, the justice has come round the whole circle, thought the king. Back to the merchant. See, it started with the merchant and now it has come to him itself. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying. When he was now king was very upset, he called him rudely, and he came crying. It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent. He cried a lot in front of the king that he was not like the rich merchant. It was his father who ordered for the jewelry. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. And he ordered his quickly. It is true, your father is a true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. Now he said that it is fine. We know very well that your father was the real culprit, but he is dead now. But somebody has to be punished for that purpose. So you will be punished in place of your father. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. He said, you have got everything from your murderer father, the criminal father, murderer father. You are enjoying his riches. Now you have to get the punishment because of his sins also. I knew at once, even when I was first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. The king also added to that. He said, when I first looked at you, that time only I was pretty sure that it was you only who is the root cause of this problem, of this crime. And hence, you must get the punishment. You must die. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for execution. Now he ordered his men to prepare a new stake where he can be hanged till death. As the servant sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, the king's people followed his order. They made new stake, sharpened it, got it ready for the criminal. It occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. Now minister, when looked at the stake, he thought that it is merchant is won't be fit into that stake. His neck won't fit into that stake. He is too thin for that stake. Now what is to be done if he is thin for that stake? He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about. Now he asked king also, appealed, matlab he requested the king also to look at that, and king too worried about it, and king was also worried about it that rich merchant won't fit into the stake. What shall we do now? Now what is the solution for this problem? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. Now, what they were supposed to do? Now, as they have made the stake, now they have to get a man who is fat enough to fit into that stake. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit stake. Now, king sent his men all over the state to look for a man who would fit into the stake. And their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on banana, rice, and ghee, wheat. Now, where they came? They came to the disciple who had become fatty because of eating a lot of ghee, rice, bananas, and wheat. What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi, he said. I am innocent. I have not done anything. I have not done anything wrong. I am innocent. I am sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it's a royal decree order that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake. He said, it is perfectly fine. That man answered that you have not done anything, but we have to follow the orders. We need a man who fat enough who would fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. And they took him to the place where the punishment has to be, or the order of the king has to be executed. He remembered his wise guru's words. Now because of this incident, those words said by Guru came to his mind. This is a city of fools. You do not know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart and asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. Now he prayed. Finally, he prayed for his Guru. He requested his Guru. The Guru saw everything in a vision, and Guru was very, like you can say, a visionary man. He saw everything. He had magic powers. He could see far and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He could see everything, present, past, future, and everything. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into the scrape through love of food. Now he came there at the place of execution to save his disciple who had fallen into this situation because of his love for food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. He said something quietly. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Of course the Guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to the death after me. Then they created a scene over there. They did a drama over there. What did they do? He went to the Guru, went to the king and asked him, who is bigger, whether the Guru or the disciple? The king answered, definitely the Guru. Then he said, if I am wiser or bigger than my disciple, then you should put me to stake first, and my minister should be put to stake after me. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor, me first, clamor, shout. When the disciple heard this, he also started shouting, me first, you brought me here first, put me to death first, not him. The disciple said all these words. The Guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. Now they both started fighting. Who should put to the stake first? The king was puzzled by this behavior. He got confused. He asked Guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a man, a fat man for the stake. He answered him. The king told Guru that they had chosen his disciple because he was fat enough to fit the stake. You should not ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied Guru. Guru said, you should not ask me these type of questions. Put me to death first. Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Now, king said, you are a very wise man, Guru. You need to make me understand what is the mystery behind this. Will you promise me to put to death if I tell you? Now Guru asked, if I tell you this mystery, Secret, would you put me to death first? Asked the Guru. The king gave him his solemn word. Yes, he promised that I will do the so. I will do so. The Guru took him aside out of servant's earshot and whispered to him. Guru took king to one side where his men could not hear anything what he was telling him, and said to him, do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. Now he was praising him. Wrong praises. This stake is a stake of God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of the country. Now Guru made a story. He cooked a story and presented it in front of a king in such a way. Now you can see what did Guru tell to king. He told king that this is a stake of God, it's a stake of justice, it's a new, never a criminal being punished on this stake. So whoever is going to die first here will be reborn as the king, and the second person will reborn as the minister of this country. We are sick of ascetic life. He said we are sick of this our holy life. Ascetic life means the holy life, the life of yogis. It would nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. He said we also want to live our life like king and ministers. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember? The king, now thrown into deep thought. Now king started thinking as he was greedy. Now he did not want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He said, I don't want to give my kingdom to somebody else in the next time when he will reborn. He needed time. He started thinking. He said, I need time to think about it. So he ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. Now he ordered his men that put them, Guru and disciple, into jail, and this execution will be done next day. Now he started discussing this problem with his minister. It's not right for us to stake ourselves. For us to give over the kingdom to other in next life, let's go on the stake ourselves and we will be reborn as king and minister again. He said it's not good if we give our kingdom to somebody else. So what should we do? Let us go on the stake first, as then we will reborn as the king and minister again in the next life. Holy men do not tell lies. He also added, these gurus, holy men, they never tell lies. Minister also agreed. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first, then do the same to the second man. Those are my orders, and do not make any mistake. Now they said that king ordered his men, the executioners, those who were there to put the person on the stake. He told them that tonight I will send two people to you. The first person should go on the stake first, and the second should go after him, and they should not make any mistake. That night the king and the minister went secretly to prison, released Guru and disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and they changed their clothes, bhesh badalna, disguised themselves as Guru and disciple. As they release them, now they have taken their clothes and changed themselves and make their dress in such a way that one looked like Guru and one looked like disciple, and arranged beforehand with loyal servants, and were taken to stake and promptly executed. And they were taken to the stake and they were promptly given the punishment, or they, when the bodies were taken down to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people panicked when they saw that when the bodies were taken out from the place of execution, dead bodies, to be given to crows and vultures, then the people saw their faces and there was a confusion. They got panicked. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister, and the city was in confusion. Now the people got confused. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. All night they They kept on crying, and the people of the kingdom, they were worried about what will be the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave the town unnoticed. As the guru and the disciple were about to leave the town, some of the people caught them. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Somebody requested or proposed that we need a king and a minister. Others agreed. The other people also agreed. They begged the guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. Now they requested the guru and the disciple to be the king and the minister. It did not take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the guru. As the disciple was greedy, he at once got ready to be the minister, but it took a long time for the guru to be ready to be the king. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister, on the condition that they could change all the old laws. And they decided they would be the king and the minister on one condition only: if they would be allowed to change all the old rules. From then on, night would again be night and day would again be day, and you could get nothing for a to do. It became like any other normal place. So children, it is all about the story, the kingdom of fool. Next time we'll do the exercises or the question answers of this lesson. Thank you, children.